All right, so welcome to our very first group webinar under our Spiritual Business Alchemy team. So you guys get to be initiated as part of our beautiful co-creation. And so with today's webinar, as I said, it's going to be about an hour or so, and we're going to go over a lot of exciting things that all of us are very passionate about, and we'll go into what those are. Do want to let you guys know, as many of you probably already know, it's Mercury retrograde, so it's been fun with technology. Anyone have random things disappear? You're like sending a voice memo and you're like, oh, I just recorded 2 minutes and it's gone. What happened? Mercury retrograde. We're also calling in from different parts of the world. We have Lilla in Mexico, Kaley in Guatemala, I'm in Nicaragua. Michael's in California. So we do have different areas of the world. Sometimes our internet is a little bit glitchy or spotty. So just bear with us. Of course, everything happens for a reason. So if someone drops off or something gets dropped off, well, surrender. Let's just flow with it during this time. And then if you're having trouble like with your Zoom randomly or you can't hear, I advise you to try to just log out and then log back in again. And off of Zoom, I mean, so like close totally out and then go click on the link again and come back in. And hello, Bay Area. It's actually a lot of us that used to be from the Bay Area. Love it. Hey. Yeah, let us know in the chat, where are you from and where do you live now? It's kind of fun to know both because I'm sure many of us aren't always living where we grew up, where we're born. And I think that could create some fun connections as you guys get to know each other in the group as well.
Germany.
Denver. Love it. Yeah, Michelle, you just moved to Denver recently. Super exciting. I'll say California. Wonderful. Upstate New York to Long Island. My mom's from Long Island. Never been
North Carolina.
Sweet, sweet. Oh, yeah. Hey, Alyssa. All right, so as you guys are chatting away, we'll jump into this. So that's it. I think most of what we're talking about for just introductions. Let's talk about the fun stuff. If I can, how do I do this? Hello? There we go. What we're covering. Why are you guys here? Why are we talking today? So the main thing about this is, okay, it's twofold. It's allowing you to be able to activate the inner sales wizard in you so you can really step fully into your purpose and make a bigger impact in your business as a light worker, healer, coach, whatever you want to call yourself, light warrior. Doesn't matter the name. We all know we're here for a bigger purpose, to not only work on ourselves, to evolve and enlighten, but really support others on their journey as we shift into 5D. So with that, that's one part. And most of us know there's many blocks that are going to come up with us through our healing process, which is just disguised as well as another form of our healing is our business. You know, it's just another way to evolve spiritually. And so there are many business blocks, quote unquote business blocks, or just maybe even limiting beliefs that are holding us back from really being fully in our highest potential of ourselves in our business and our coaching entrepreneurship. So what we'll be covering are the primary reasons people don't succeed in their business, and then how to reprogram these blocks to really step into your higher self through different mindset shifts that maybe you had never really like looked outside of this mindset, like, you know, money is evil, or I am not worthy of success, whatever that may be, to really anchor in a new potential for you and a new reality. And then we'll have a little introduction and some fun exercises that will be led by Michael, and we'll introduce ourselves in just a moment. So you're like, okay, I don't know who Michael is, I don't know who Kaley or Bekah is, we'll explain. And so we'll do some NLP stuff and then get into a little bit about what is Spiritual Business Alchemy, as I'm sure you might have heard about it and wondering what is this thing that you guys are creating. We'll be sharing that, as well as closing with a really beautiful custom guided meditation that Kaley has put together for all of us to really anchor in our new highest frequency of ourselves to attract the abundance that we desire and deserve. So with all that, we'll now introduce ourselves real quickly so you have an understanding of who's presenting to you today. And of course, if you want to get to know any of us as we're talking, and maybe you've met me or you met Michael or Kaley or Lilla individually, but not all of us, we would love to connect with you in any way. So if you like need a contact or a connection or anything like that, I think we're all here for a reason as Container, as a soul family. So if you really feel called to connect with someone, or even on this call, like reach out to me or someone on the team. Get to know us on Instagram, send us a DM message, and we'd be happy to connect with you as well if you haven't done that yet individually. So introduction. Hello, for anyone that does not know me, my name is Bekah Komar, and I've been a mindset coach, life coach, and business and sales coach for about 2 years. And I started my coaching career about 2 years ago with actually a podcast called Follow Your Heart. It still exists. It's still there. That was my original baby. And now I really focus on intuitive business and sales coach with the focus on spirituality as kind of the main modality. My past career and my kind of business world was in corporate software sales and product sales. So I worked with Fortune 500 companies and had that really cool like career that looks good on paper and your parents are proud of, but I wasn't happy. And so I let go of everything I knew about myself, sold everything, quit my job last year, and went full-time on my business, and I'm now a digital nomad living in Nicaragua and coaching online, but also really immersed in a beautiful spiritual community here in Nicaragua. That is a little bit about me, and I'm going to pass it on to Lilla to introduce herself.
All right, thank you, Bekah. So my name is Lilla, and I'm originally from Hungary, and I've just recently moved to Mexico, just less than a week ago, actually, and I started my digital nomad lifestyle that I've always dreamed of doing. And as for the business that I'm running, it's a social media agency, or virtual assistant agency, so to say. And I started it in January. So I started in January, and first I was working as a virtual assistant, and then I started growing my team and having other virtual assistants to help me out in the business as it was growing. So it kind of went into or transitioned into an agency, and just recently I've started going more into spirituality, and also I went into coaching, or slowly transitioning into coaching alongside with the agency. So in a nutshell, that would be it about me. And I'm not sure who's coming next.
Who's next? Michael.
That would be me. So hi guys, my name is Michael. I'm out here like Bekah said, out here in California in the Bay Area. My spiritual journey and my business journey started very early. I was about 8 or 9 years old when I started meditating spontaneously. Had no idea what I was doing. Just knew that if I got into certain positions and stayed very still, I could get like tingling sensations all throughout my body. And I just wanted more and more of that. Right about that same time, I saw an ad in Boy's Life magazine for burpee seeds. You could order a box of their seeds and then go door to door. So I became a door-to-door salesperson, opened up my first company. I was an 8-year-old entrepreneur. I've been in sales almost all my career. I've been a sales coach. I've been a life coach. I worked for a company called the Academy of Influence. That's where I learned NLP, and where I learned, I became an instructor in NLP. I've worked in a wide variety of different businesses. I've started my own business. I've done, just a whole suite of different things. So my job here is to really help bring in that the concepts of neurolinguistic programming and how to translate our sales processes into much more heart-centered and much more spiritual-based processes. And I'm going to introduce, next up is Kaley.
All right. Hi, guys. My name is Kaley Korfai. And it's funny, whenever I do these intros, it feels like talking about a past life, because I rarely ever think about more than 3 years ago. Because when I woke up, it felt like truly waking up from being completely numb to what passion felt like in my life. But previously, before waking up, I was really into health, and I was in the restaurant business for a while, and I started getting heavily into lifting and that whole realm. which translated into, as I went through my own awakening, into being a health coach, which I utilized as a foundation, but truly it ended up being more like spiritual health. So I started coaching as a life coach, as a spiritual guide, immediately took on a bunch of clients. Some of them were actually with Bekah, which was so much fun to co-coach together. And that transitioned into online courses, as well as Rebecca and I, Rebecca, I've never called you that. Bekah and I, we held a retreat, I guess it was about 2 years ago, which was such a success. And I think one of the first moments in this life that I realized how effortless it can be to truly birth the things that we are meant for in this life when we are aligned and surrender and know that we are gifted and have something to share with the world and want to spread light that the universe provides for us over and over again. And from that, I went into more of the subconscious realm. I realized through Joe Dispenza's work that truly we can think on an intellectual level, that we understand all of these business or spiritual terms, whether it's in our awakening or in our business, even though they really go hand in hand. We can think from that 5% of our mind that we really understand and that we're intellectually grasping our reality and like, okay, I got this belief, I understand how to apply it. But until we bring that down into the subconscious, into that 95% of who we are, we can't really embody and activate ourselves to really attract that level of abundance to us. So through my own experience, a lot of that work has been in my subconscious realm, following very deep hypnosis and meditation work, a lot of that with Joe Dispenza's book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. If you guys have not read that, I highly recommend it. You can essentially work through any limiting belief, blockage, scarcity mindset, anything of that material. And in that, I've kind of been experimenting with all these different realms, which has brought me to this moment where I am in Guatemala now. I was in California before. And yeah, kind of aligning with my human design structure, which we will tap into a bit through our program. And I am a projector, so when I get an invitation for something, it really resonates with me. So Becca invited me into this program to really help with the depth of subconscious work that goes along with a lot of these shifts. And if you want to move to the next slide, I can just go straight into a little bit of what SBA is. Oh, that's cool. I see Alexander said you felt that I was a projector. So awesome. Yeah, when we tune into human design, it starts to be easier to get the type, especially when we're living in alignment with them, which I must be because I've been getting a lot of invitations lately. So just to cover a little bit about Spiritual Business Alchemy, which is the course that we will be launching in December, which I'm so excited about. My body just like physically responded to that. So I'm super excited to introduce this. Essentially what we're doing is we as a team, or I guess as individuals first and foremost, have recognized that there is kind of a lack of structure in understanding how to move from this third dimensional realm of business into more of a fifth dimensional heart-centered space of doing business from our heart in a way that feels good, that doesn't feel so resistant to doing things like sales. There's a lot of connotation and kind of resistance in that area. And we've kind of brought together an amazing team to create this container for 4 months so that you guys would have the accountability, the team, the structure, and the subconscious work, while also aligning with things like human design, the 12 universal laws. We're going deep into NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, as Michael mentioned. And we're basically just taking it a step further. There's a lot of business programs out there, but we feel like we are really tying in like spirituality, business, and the science and psychology to really give a well-rounded experience for you guys. So yeah, this is for anybody, which is the exciting part. It's not about having a specific gift or talent or psychic ability. It's for anybody who is wanting to spread light to the planet, and you know that you have a gift that you want to share, and you know that you are worthy of abundance, but you're hitting some sort of block. So we've really created a container where all you need to do is show up, and you will be extremely successful in that. And I've really been feeling that these past few weeks, and just every team meeting we've had is so much excitement about this and the container we're creating. So I will transition back to Bekah. I know she wants to talk a little bit about the blocks that you guys may be encountering in your business now, so that regardless of this webinar, you guys can take some things away and learn how to align with, the universal laws and NLP. They're a huge key for us.
Thank you, Kaley. Yeah, I feel like I tapped into the energy right before I got on this call, and I just like did a couple ohms and then just closed my eyes and asked for the Pleiadians to speak to me. And I just started crying. And it was like this feeling of feeling so in our purpose. Like this is so much more beyond us for sharing with you. I can feel into all of the energy of all of you guys that are here. And what's beautiful is we know a lot of you in our soul family. So it's not like this was just, a random thing. We're like, we need to make money. We need to put a business together. And this is what happened. It really came organically as so many synchronicities that have happened in all of your lives, right? Like you look at where you are now and how you got here on your awakening and your business and where you are now. It's like, you can't make this stuff up. And so I really just felt into this loving energy and started tearing up before this call because I can feel all of you guys. And it makes me really excited to support any of you, whether it's we're connecting this one time we have one soul contract right now, or you decide that you really want to move forward with this container that we've created through Spiritual Business Alchemy, that we can allow you to move on and make a bigger impact for your life purpose, because we all know our calling here. I know every single person on this call has a big mission and some big shoes to fill in this lifetime. So it's really our mission to support you to remove any of those blocks that are holding you back or that are keeping you small. Any entities that are trying to pull you back energetically or in your mind, so that way you can step into your fullest version. So some of the biggest blocks that I've seen through the past couple of years as I've coached many clients and all different types of coaching that they serve their clientele in, it's like, and I've been on hundreds of calls, guys. In the last 2 years, I've connected with so many people on Instagram. That's probably how I've connected with all of you, is through me being a manifestor in human design. It's my job to initiate and to reach out. And the same with Michael. And so I've connected with so many souls one-on-one, understanding their business, their calling, their vision, their desire, where they are right now and where they want to be. And there's a big gap between where they are now and where they want to be. And it's this fear and typically these mental blocks that are holding them back from their highest potential. All things that all of us that have created this program, and myself included, have been through ourselves and had to work through at one point or another. And so some of the blocks I've seen, especially in our area as an online coach and a light worker, is lack of confidence and unworthiness. And this is a universal one as humans, right? Like we have adopted these old belief systems between the ages of like 2 and 12, where something happened and then we create the story that we're not worthy enough because we weren't invited to lunch table with all the cool kids. Or we brought a ham sandwich and my friends brought PB&J, and suddenly like we're the awkward, weird ones. So lack of confidence, a big one. Not knowing where to start or how to continue with the business. This is a really big one too, where yes, there's strategies and structures in place to help us, and sometimes access to those or have thought to search for them. And this is something that I've done a lot of research and work on over the years, hired many different coaches, invested a lot of time and energy and money into courses to support people in moving along with the practicality of the business and the sales. But a lot of people will say, well, I don't know how to make a website, therefore I'm not going to start coaching. And it's like, well, why? Why not? And we'll talk more about these blocks and how to overcome them. But that's a very common one, is just feeling stuck and not knowing how to get unstuck and feeling that resistance of, well, I don't know how to do this, so it's too hard. I'm not going to do it. It's not meant for me. Another thing is a lack of accountability and support. And this is such a big one, as I don't know how many of you have had coaches before, even just an accountability buddy, and notice the difference, right? Where it's like, okay, you're an entrepreneur now, you're on your own, you don't have a boss to report you to, you don't have a schedule that's consistent. Suddenly, especially if you've come from university and you're now an entrepreneur on your own, or you've come from a corporate job or a 9-to-5, and suddenly you're your own boss, it can be very challenging being in this business and not knowing how to have accountability for yourself, intrinsically motivated, and that own support. And so it's like, how do we set up some type of the masculine, because it's important to have the masculine and the feminine, and balancing those two, and to have that support and ensure that, yes, we're taking inspired aligned action when we need to and when it feels good, but still moving even if there's fear. And then no idea how to sell and get clients. This is a huge one. This is probably why most of you guys are here, right? Like, how do I sell though? Like, I've manifested clients here and there, and it's been amazing when I need it. But how do I get past that of like, okay, I have support, I'm grounded enough to get by, but I want to step into abundance and consistency. and opening up that gate of abundance to flow through more consistently. So no idea how to sell. It's common. It's okay. It's not something that we're just naturally good at. I don't believe anyone is born a good salesperson. It takes practice. And Michael and I can both attest to that in our sales careers. And then also unconscious abundance blocks. That's another really big one. Or, money blocks, mindset blocks, any type of abundance. It doesn't have to just be in money, but commonly with business blocks, it is associated with that. So those are the main blocks that we've seen. And I'd love to know if you guys can comment, which one of these do you feel is the most prevalent for you in this period of your life right now? And there might be a couple, and that's okay. You can put as many as you want, or just one that's really like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I'm feeling right now. And I'm really curious to know if there is like a common theme between all of us, because we're typically not the only one struggling with one thing. So feel free to share. I'll give you a moment on that. And no judgment here, guys.
Unconscious blocks.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for your honesty and sharing that. We're all here. It's like literally this is a safe container. Thank you. Selling unconscious blocks. Yeah. Yeah, it's like exactly the unconscious blocks. I'm grateful you guys are saying that, because it's the exact thing we're going into next, which we'll preface with this point right here. You're probably like, well, what is you don't know what you don't know? And that's what it is. It's like, it's subconscious because it's not there in the front of our mind. And I'm excited for Michael to get in that part next.
All right. So, have you guys heard about that? The last statement on that last slide, the things that you don't even know that you don't even know. Who's heard that before? Give me a thumbs up if you've heard that. Give me 2 thumbs up if you understand what it means. All right. So some people have heard it. Some people know what it means. Okay, perfect. So what we're looking at here, go ahead and jump over to the next slide, Bekah, and then you might want to just check the waiting room one more time. Oh, I think we went one too many. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So the things, this circle is basically all information that's available to us. This very small piece of pie under where it says no, that's the things that we know, right? So maybe you know how to ride a bike, or you know how to bake a cake, or you know how to get on a Zoom call. We all know that. The next one is the things that you know that you don't know. So I know that there's this thing called brain surgery. I also know I don't know how to do it. If somebody here needed brain surgery, I would refer you to a brain surgeon. Then there's the things that you think you know. And these would fall into those kinds of things like maybe, do aliens exist, right? We think that we know what there is about that, but we're not 100% sure. You might think that you know how to sell to major corporations, but you've never done it yet. You might think that you know how to write out sales scripts, but again, you've never done it yet. So even though you think you know what you're doing, it does kind of fall into the parts that you know that you don't know, right? And then the major part of it is the things that you don't even know that you don't even know. Now, this is what NLP introduces you to, because I guarantee you right now, there are things that you're already doing unconsciously that if you did them consciously, you would see a dramatic increase in your ability to close sales, okay? If it wasn't for NLP, I would still be out there on the day-to-day doing the grind. I was lucky enough to retire at the age of 50 because of the fact that I had learned NLP back around 2003, 2004, and utilized it in every position that I had. One of my greatest successes, I was working for a guy that sat on the board of advisors for Microsoft. And his job was to find those small companies out there that hadn't been recognized yet, the ones that were just in the process of getting angel investors and whatnot. And he basically hired me to go to work at those companies and tell him if they were worth investing, a deeper study into. And then he would then report back to Microsoft. Now, prior to NLP, I wouldn't have thought that I had the value or the right to have been in that room. I had tremendous blocks in terms of what I felt that I was capable of doing, the level of person I was capable of presenting to, the quality of the product that I was capable of selling. And my last job in my career, I worked for a Fortune 50 telecommunications company as a sales manager. Again, calling on companies like Apple and Google and these major corporations. And I had no problem walking in the door and telling a CTO or a CFO or a CEO, look, you're wrong here, and let me explain why. And that is that is what NLP did for me. We're going to dive into a little bit about NLP. We're also going to talk about the 12 spiritual laws. Okay. Now, I'm curious if anybody here knows what any of the spiritual laws are. Who's heard of those? Go ahead and post in the comments if you've heard of them. And if you know any of them, post. If you can go ahead and type in, what is that spiritual law that you know? Michelle says she has. Okay, Michelle, what is one that you've learned? Okay, Luda's heard of them. Law of attraction. Bing, bing, bing. Prize goes to Michelle. It's super wild that I just read all of it today for some. Spirit was leading you, Carly. Yes, that's awesome. Yeah, so law of attraction is one of those laws. There's 11 others. And if you don't understand what these laws are, they're also called the 12 universal laws. And universal means that it works even if you don't believe in it. These laws are like gravity. If you don't believe in gravity and you step off of the Empire State Building, are you going to float or are you going to fall? You're going to fall, right? So these laws work in the same way. If you don't understand them, if you don't know them, they can actually work against you. And part of NLP opens up the ability to tap into these laws and to use them in ways that are very, very fundamental. Go ahead and click over to the next slide, Bekah, the NLP presuppositions. Now, presupposition just means something that you already believe is true. You presuppose that this is true. You might go into a sales call and you presuppose that you're going to get the deal, right? So these are some of the NLP presuppositions, and depending on which website you go onto, you're going to find anywhere between 7 and 16 presuppositions. These are the ones that I feel are the most important. Number one is accept people unconditionally. That's a presupposition in NLP, right? We don't judge someone. We don't look at the way that they're dressed. We don't look at the furniture in their office. We don't look at any of that stuff and say, yes, they're going to buy from me, or no, they're not. We accept everyone unconditionally. We respect others' model of the world. Nobody has the same experiences that you have. They didn't live in the same household with the same parents. Even if you have a twin, there are points in time when you were separated from each other long enough that you have a different model of the world. There was a car crash outside and all of us were around watching it. There wouldn't have been one car crash. There would have been 16, 17, 18 car crashes because we all would have come back with a different perspective. The third one here, resistance signifies mistrust. So anytime you're speaking to someone and you start to feel resistance from them, and we'll get into that in the next slide on how we can pick up on these cues. Anytime that you feel this resistance, it just signifies mistrust with your prospective client. There's something that you said, the way that you said it, the way you presented it, some body language, facial expression, something that happened that caused you to not be in their circle, right? NLP talks about that people like people who are like them. So the more we can be like them, the more they're going to like us. And anytime we have those things that we do that remind them of their third grade teacher or whatever, that can generate some mistrust. And that is what generates the resistance. It doesn't mean that you don't know how to sell. It doesn't mean your product is unworthy. It doesn't mean any of that. It just means that there's some mistrust in there. People are not their behaviors, number 4. So we don't look at people as being their behaviors. If somebody is acting angrily, we know from a spiritual perspective, especially, that a lot of these behaviors are handed down. There's generational wounds and ancestral traumas and all of these things that are handed down to us And even within the world of psychology, they're already accepting this as well, that there are these situations that are handed down to us. So we look at this, that people are not their behaviors. We don't judge them based on the way that they're acting. What we want to do is we want to understand what that behavior is, so that we can guide them beyond that behavior and get them into a place where they're ready to make a buying decision. My favorite one is the map is not the territory. And this goes back to that whole thing about that your perspective is not their perspective. When you are looking at a map of how to drive from California to New York, the map is not the trip, right? You're not going to see all the little gas stations and all the different things that you're going to see along the way when you're looking at the map. When you're looking at somebody else across the table or across the Zoom call or whatever, and you're doing a sales presentation, you don't see the territory. You just see the map. You know where you are. You know where you want to get to. They are the territory. Their presuppositions, their experiences, all of that is the territory. Own your mind and your outcomes, the next one. All this means is that we take responsibility for everything that happens. That doesn't mean that you have to own the event. If somebody comes up to you and punches you in the face, did you do anything wrong? No. But if you own that event and you owned your mindset in that moment, you have the ability to take responsibility. And all responsibility means is you have the ability to create a response, that you own the right to respond to that situation. So when you own your mind and your outcomes, everything that happens, you realize that you have the ability to respond to it, okay? People have all the resources they need. Anytime you get to a point where you're reaching a buying decision, if the client is ready, they need it, they're going to get the resources that they need in order to find this. If they need more information, they already know who it is that they need to talk to. If they need validation, they already know who it is that they need to talk to get validation for this. So trust that they already have all the resources that they need in order to make these decisions. There is no failure, only feedback. That is a key one for NLP. NLP is like golf. When you stand up to hit a golf ball, it never goes exactly where you thought it was going to go, right? But you don't break down, you don't cry, you don't go have, eat 15 donuts because you hit the ball didn't land where you wanted it to. You just go up to where the ball is. You stand back, look where you want it to go, take another swing and try again. And that's what NLP is all about. There is no failure, only feedback. And the last one is the meaning of your conversation is the response you get regardless of your intent. So if you get a response from someone that you didn't think was possible for them to respond in that way, that is what the meaning of your conversation was to them, okay? So the meaning of your conversation is the response you get. So if you don't get the response that you want, we need to change the conversation. All right, go ahead and move on to the next slide. We're going to do a quick NLP exercise. I'm going to talk to you about pacing and leading quickly and mirroring, mimicking, and matching. These are the things that we do in order to get into rapport with someone. And I talked about that NLP discusses that people like people who are like them, right? If you think about it, the people that you associate with most, for most people, it's family. And when you go, home for a family holiday or something like that, pay attention. I guarantee you that you all have the same types of facial expressions. You all have very similar body language. You all have very similar inflection, the way that you speak. If you hold out certain vowels or if you're soft on your consonants, you all have those types of things. So pacing and leading, pacing just means that you enter your client's space. You pace them. Once you feel this connection, and you'll feel it, you can then lead them where you want to go. And we do this by mirroring, mimicking, and matching. So real quick, if they're smiling, you smile. If they are not smiling, you don't smile. If they get angry, you get angry too. Not at them, right? You get angry at whatever they're angry about, you're angry about that as well. Like, I can't believe that, you don't have the money for this either. Whatever it is that they're angry about. If they're sitting cross-legged, you sit cross-legged. If they lean to the left, you lean to the left. Not immediately, and we'll talk about this more in detail, and we'll practice this over and over and over again in the course. But we do everything: tonality, facial expressions, eye movement, the pace of your words, everything. If they have an accent, you can copy that accent without actually sounding like you're speaking in that accent. So if they have a Southern drawl, and maybe some of you are picking up now that I'm mimicking a Southern drawl without actually using what an actor would use if they were playing a part on a movie screen. Okay, so you can pace, you can do the exact same tonality, inflection. Do they talk from their nose? Do they talk from way up here in their head? Do they talk way down here in their throat? You can do the same thing as well.
Can I add something in there as well, Michael?
Go for it.
Coming up for me. This is something that I've practiced in ways that are kind of intuitive in terms of over time, especially as a coach, I realized I wanted to work with healers and light workers because I love spirituality too, but I thought that I needed to fit in this persona where I'm a business coach and I need to be structured like I was taught in my professional world, because before I was meeting with CEOs, executives, 50s, 60s, and now I'm meeting younger women my age and I'm like dream client, but I was trying to put on this persona. And so, I'm trying to be professional in a Zoom call and just get to the point and be very fast paced. Okay, we need to get to the end. And realizing that all of the people that wanted to meet with me wanted me to be me. And as I slowed down versus having this agenda and match their pace, like I'd be like, okay, how are you feeling today? And I'd notice how they respond. I would slow down the energy according to how they responded to me. So that way, if I'm coming in with a really high energy and that's too invasive for them, and they're like, whoa, this is too much, they're going to close down. And so it can be really natural where you're naturally matching energy or even tactics. Like now I burn sage and people are like, oh, she's like me. Yeah, I can be a business coach and burn sage and clear the energy. So it's little things like that as well that build the trust too. So those are like maybe some more other practical ways of integrating this.
Oh yeah, definitely. And that's exactly what the point was about NLP when it gets into that things that you don't even know that you don't even know, right? You didn't even realize that you were getting into rapport, that you were doing the pacing and leading, but you were just doing it automatically. And there are so many times when we unconsciously are doing things because we've always done them that way, right? And NLP teaches us to break that apart and to not be, you can still be who you are, right? I'm still a goofball when I go on sales calls, right? Even when I was sitting there with the CEOs and the CTOs of these major corporations, I would still be a jokester because that's who I am. And I'm not going to hide my personality, but I would do it in such a way that it matched the way that they were behaving as well, if that makes sense. Okay. So we're going to try real quick. We're going to work with embedded commands. And just to give you an example of what an embedded command is, it's a at minimum 3 words, at most 7, usually about 5 words, something that you're going to put into a sentence that you're going to speak to your client that is going to move them to do what you want to do. So here are some examples of embedded commands. When you get into a sales call and you're feeling that your client might be a little bit nervous or rushed, one of the embedded commands that you can interject into the sentence would be, feel relaxed now, or feel more relaxed. You just put that into a regular sentence. When you do an embedded command, you're going to pause slightly before, you're going to pause slightly after, and you're going to change 1 or 2 things about you. So you might tilt your head, you might move your hand towards your face, you might do something that cues their mind, because their mind is looking for visual, auditory, or kinesthetic clues. That's how they learn things, right? And as soon as they see this difference or they notice this difference, they're going to pick up on that. They're going to pay more attention. So the embedded command, I'll just use Bekah. I'm going to use you as an example, okay? So if I'm trying to sell Bekah this lip gloss, or you know what, let's use Rafiki. I'm going to sell Bekah on Rafiki. And one of the things I notice is that she seems to be distracted. And I'm going to say, you know, Bekah, if you could focus for a minute on Rafiki, you'll notice the detail that went into this. So now I just go about the rest of my sales pitch. Just that one small thing, very small, the more you practice it, and I did it a little bit exaggerated so you guys could pick up on it. The more you practice it, the more it just becomes part of your speech. So what I'd love to see is I would love for you guys to write down, I'm going to have you guys try writing one short sentence with an embedded command. Last thing I want you to know about embedded commands is you never end a sentence with an embedded command. So what is one thing that you would like to have your clients do while you're in a sales call with them?
And this could really go for, you know, current clients you're working with as well that you're already coaching, or for those that you're looking to have a connection or a discovery call or a connection call with.
Yeah. If you're already coaching somebody and their behavior is, you know exactly what their behavior is that's causing them to have these discord moments in their life, you can definitely have an embedded command conversation with them as well. Does anybody have any examples? If not, I'll give a few more.
Can you give us some more examples?
Yeah, I can give more examples. We talked about feel more relaxed now. You could use a embedded command of, I don't know if you use contracts with your clients, but sign the contract could be an embedded command. So Bekah, you know, you realize that once you sign the contract, we're going to be able to take care of all of these things that you listed as what's holding you back. That would be an example of an embedded command. Okay, Alexandra's got one here. It's safe to really trust the process to go into your deep healing. Yes, that's a good one. Really trust the process. Very good. Anybody else want to try one? Maybe people are typing.
This one takes a little bit more thought.
Yes,
Maybe
this one does take a little more thought.
Scenario, right? Like I'm thinking of within a sales call, like, yeah, you know, at the very end, they're like, well, I really don't have the time and the money right now. And I really wish I could work with you. I really want to work with you, but I just don't have the time and money right now. And I have to make this payment and this bill, and I have this coaching program. What would you respond?
So Bekah, I completely understand that. And I want you to know that first off, I take responsibility for that. I understand that there's something that I presented to you that is causing you to have some mistrust with either with me or with this product, the service that I'm offering to you. And I want you to understand that once you start to work with me, all of these things that you're thinking about now, all of these hesitations and reservations you have are going to disappear. In fact, the moment that you say yes, Bekah, to what I'm offering, you'll immediately feel that sense of relief. And isn't that what you want?
Yeah.
So there's an example. There was 3 embedded commands in there.
I only heard one, the one I needed to hear.
Which one did you pick up on?
When you work with me, that everything's going to disappear. I'm like, oh, okay. Help me.
All right.
Yeah.
So we got a few more examples. Here. First off, Alexandra said, can you start a sentence with it? No, you want it in the middle of a sentence. You want it to be sandwiched between your regular conversation and the others, because it's a subconscious thing that you're engaging their mind. If you do it right away, they'll pick up on it. It's really cool to do this, to practice this. If you're in a place where you're actually able to go out to restaurants, you can practice this to try to get like a free appetizer from your waiter or waitress. Let's see here. So Carly says, allow yourself to go back to a time where you felt this feeling in your body before. Okay, and what would which one part there, Carly, would be the embedded command? I want you to take this moment and notice how you're feeling. Okay, good. Wow, this is gold. Is it a repeat thing or a one-time thing? You can use as many embedded commands as you want to. You can, the more you practice using embedded commands and entering them into your conversations, you'll find yourself that you automatically are saying these things on a regular basis, but now you're saying it consciously, right? I want to say go back in time. This is hard. Okay. So that's actually, Carly, that would be a deeper level of NLP. We would be getting into doing some reframing work where we are asking the client to go back to a moment in their mind. You might even get them to close their eyes, all that kind of stuff. Once they're there, then you can start to put out the embedded commands into your sentences, like feel good now, release that weight. If they're carrying a lot of emotional weight around a situation, then you can begin to get those. When you're looking at moving them into a space where they're thinking about themselves in a previous time frame, that's called reframing, and we'll probably get into that towards the end of the course. Okay. I mean, do they work when they only hear it once? Oh, yes. Yeah, you can definitely get it to work if you only do one. And again, practice this. The best place to practice this is at restaurants. If you're out at a social event and you meet somebody brand new, practice with them. See if you can get them to buy you a drink, or see if you can get them to, whatever it is. See if you can get them to give up their chair. When you get on, if you ride the subway, if you ride a public transportation or anything along those lines, give up your chair is a good one to learn if you want to sit and all the chairs are taken. So you can use this in a lot of different ways. I will say that when somebody knows you really well and they know what it is you're doing, and they pick up on that you're doing it, they'll get a little upset that you're doing it to them. My wife, I no longer use embedded commands with when I'm having conversations with my wife, right? Like what we want for dinner now, I'm not going to use an embedded command on what I want for dinner. Last thing I want to talk about just give you an example of what kind of things that we're going to learn on NLP is a tie down question. In that example that I was doing with Bekah, when I was responding to her resistance, you notice I put it right out there, guys. I put it right out there when I said, look, you have resistance. I recognize that. There's something that I didn't explain to you deep enough. I own that. So let's go ahead and let's go through my presentation and see where I messed up so I can re-explain these things. When you respond to a customer in that type of manner, number one, that level of resistance, you felt it, right, Bekah? You felt that resistance just immediately begin, even though we're just role playing, you could already sense that I have your best interests at heart, right? I'm not all about the sale. I want to make sure that I have your best interest in heart. So a tie down question is at the end of a sentence. And it is just a couple of words that you say that they're automatically going to nod their head to or say yes to. So you could use, don't you agree? Or isn't that so? Isn't that the case? Isn't this true? Always use it after a sentence that you know is true. So, Bekah, what's your favorite color?
Blue.
Blue. So if I knew that about Bekah going in, I would say, so Bekah, you probably want to order this item in the color blue. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I embedded exactly. I embedded the command order this item. Then I use the tie down question. And I could even say, if you were going to order this item, you'd probably want to order it in blue. Isn't that right? So now all I'm doing is helping her to practice saying yes. And the more often she says yes, the easier it is to get her to say yes to whatever it is that I'm looking for her to do, whether it is, buy the product that I have. If you're coaching somebody to release their inhibitions about telling you whatever's going on, whatever it is that you're looking to do. So a tie down question just is something that is going to get them to say yes to whatever that question was. Okay.
Can I add one more thing as well in there?
Go for it.
As this is something that I had more mental blocks around, and I am also aware of It's almost the hour, so we're going to be going over a little bit. We're going to jump into the meditation right after this. So just to let you guys know as well, in terms of NLP, and this is, another tool to use and really to empower. It's really with anything, there's the duality. We can use this for fear, to instill fear for people to do, and we manipulate what they want we want their outcome to be to benefit us, or we can use it for emancipation, for us to use it as a tool to help them to get to where they want to go. Obviously, when we're selling from love, it's for emancipation. So if we're talking to someone, we feel like, you can feel it in your full body when you know this person came to you for a divine reason, they know it, and there's that synchronistic connection, like, wow, okay, I'm here to support them, but there's a block, then these tools are really beneficial to support them to overcome and see clearly, wow, this person can really help me. I see the potential that Michelle has to support me as a coach. I see the potential. So there is a difference. And so sometimes you may hear these strategies and feel like, oh, this is sleazy or that's manipulation. It's, once again, what's the intention of using it? Why are we using it? Is it from love? Yes, right. Great. Then that's really supporting someone in a transformation that they're asking for.
Yeah, and that's a good point, because when I learned NLP, it was taught from the aspect of, I was in real estate, and it was all about getting people to list their house with me or buy the house that I just took them on a listing presentation, because I wanted to close the sale. That was my only goal, was to get that commission. And that's where I learned it. At the same time that I was learning NLP, I was also working with the guy that has been my guru for the past 20 years. And so I started to see that what I was doing might have been the best thing for me, but it necessarily wasn't the best thing for my client. And I could no longer justify those things. And that's when I really began to do, just like Bekah's saying, only use it when I was guiding somebody to do what really was in their best interest. So with that said, let's move it over to Kaley for the next section.
Okay. All right. So I love that you brought that up, Bekah, because that was something I was about to just mention, is that when we, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Thumbs up. Okay, cool. Yeah, when we wake up and we can kind of see this matrix that we've been a part of, we see all of the programming that occurs. And NLP is a huge part of that. It's the language that we use, the intent behind it. And with anything, the intention is everything. Our words are really just like, I like to think of them as envelopes. We're constantly filling these envelopes, and the same word can be used for something in a more negative way or in a more positive way. And so what I love about what we're creating here with SBA is that it's a constant container of accountability and aligning with our highest timeline for all of humanity. So, in the business realm, it can be so easy to fall into the trap of, even though we're preaching or teaching service to others, we can fall into the trap of being in service to self. If we get caught up in this comparison, or we're on social media and we're seeing these people who are doing amazing in their business, and we get caught up in that mindset of needing to be successful or powerful in service to ourselves. So something really beautiful that I find about having this group in this container is that every day that we meet, we will be, surrounding ourselves around this fire within our visualization and feeding into this fire of aligning with the highest timeline for not only ourselves, but for everybody, for this planet, because that's truly why we're all here. And it's almost like when we reach that state, there's less mentality involved and more surrender, because when you align with divine will, you can kind of let go and say, I know that no matter what, I'm going to be aligned with the timeline that helps the most people, which will ultimately help myself as well. So to have a container where that's always being repeated, repetition is how we get programmed. So through this container, you will be literally reprogramming your subconscious mind and your conscious mind to be constantly in alignment with your highest timeline for humanity. So I think that's something really beautiful about having a group and having accountability. So before we move into this little activation meditation that we're going to do, I also wanted to just mention that, in these webinars and in this realm that we're in life, we are constantly accumulating knowledge. And it's a beautiful thing to be able to utilize the mind. I like to think of it in terms of elements. So the mind is this air element. Things are so fast moving and fast paced. And a lot of times when we are managing our own business or constantly on our phones or on screens, it's very easy to fall into the knowledge trap of wanting to learn, And unless we bring that from the 5% of our mind down into the 95% of our subconscious and actually can live through and act through and embody it, it doesn't become wisdom. So just like Michael was mentioning, you don't really know what you don't really know. If we don't bring the knowledge that we're accumulating in a webinar like this or in a course, if it's just hanging out in that 5% of like, oh yeah, I know NLP, I like learned that on a PowerPoint. But until we can really bring it into the subconscious mind, we don't have the ability to actually start acting through that lens. So that's some of the magic that will be a part of SBA, is the constant repetition and reprogramming, not just the deprogramming of the limiting beliefs we've been programmed with, but it's the stripping away of those blocks. And then you're kind of like, oh, I just got chills. You're kind of like this human supercomputer where you get to choose what you reprogram yourself with. And so that's what we'll be working with consistently throughout the entire program, so that when you graduate or finish or whatever you want to call it, you will have the subconscious foundation to begin embodying these things without needing to have a structure to do that. You will have already embedded it within your actual grid, your energy, your quantum field, whatever you want to call it. So I feel like that's pretty exciting. All right, I guess we can dive into the meditation to just help us kind of anchor in this frequency of abundance and really just balance ourselves in this moment. So if you guys can, if you can find a spot where you can sit comfortably for the next maybe 10 or 15 minutes, I'll give you guys a second if you need it. And feel free to take it off video if it makes you more comfortable. Just make sure your volume is up. I'm going to take mine off video as well, so I can just use the mic. All right. So if you guys are all sitting comfortably, let's all go ahead and place our right hand on our heart and our left hand on our diaphragm, the lower belly. And just take this moment, close your eyes. And as you do, just imagining your entire being merging instantaneously with everything around you. As if in this moment, all mental stories, physical tension, emotions immediately dissolve. And you feel a beautiful emptiness arising. It is full of unconditional love. Beginning to deepen and expand the breath, tuning into the awareness that wind is flowing through your body. Releasing the mind entirely into this moment with the intention to breathe in these universal laws, the practices you've just heard of, into every cavern of the body. Without need for intellectualizing this, just allow and feel as a vibrational experience of each of these principles and ideas and concepts flows into your field, engulfing every cell. Beginning to experience them now, swirling into and deeply activating each chakra, finding yourself realizing your highest potential for abundance. As your roots go down into the crystalline core of Gaia, anchoring you to the rhythm of the natural world, you begin to feel the stability and deep sense of grounding that these embodied laws and practices would provide your energetic foundation in your physical reality. You begin to feel yourself merging with the ground beneath you as your root chakra spins and glows a deep red, activating the codes of absolute abundance that are your divine birthright. Moving up into the warm orange hue of the sacral chakra, begin to breathe life into your creative potential. Feeling the expansion of your sexual, creative, life force energy as you experience within what it would feel like to be fully grounded in your creative pursuits through your devotion to universal law, the principles of NLP within your business. Allowing the feeling of being completely supported by your universe to be the ultimate creative embodiment of your soul's deepest desires to share your gifts with the world. Just begin to really feel into it. What would it feel like in your body? Attuning your emotional body to the inner knowing and reality of being completely supported by your universe to accept abundance in all areas of life. Knowing that your individual abundance allows you to amplify your mission as a light worker and support the expansion of consciousness for our entire planet. Allow this feeling to amplify and expand outwards, encompassing all layers and levels of your quantum field. And directing your focus now to your solar plexus. You breathe deeply into the empowering yellow golden glow that ignites your vision further. Activating a deep sense of empowerment and excitement as the vibrations of passion, complete faith, and ambition arise within this chakra and open you up to total belief in your own intrinsic ability to experience this synergistic state. Allowing the elemental fire within to be intensified, with any subconscious doubts, fears, or scarcity codes are completely dissolved and engulfed by the confidence that is birthed from aligning with the universe and the intention to spread your unique light to the planet. Feel now the inner knowing arise that when you consciously align your energy with universal law and intend to serve the planet's ascension through heart-centered action, you will always be heard, supported, and guided. Moving now into the sacred heart space, it begins to expand with the breath, almost as if your heart begins to gently inhale and exhale. A green, glowing spiral of light begins to connect your vision with the heart of the earth and the heart of the sky, as if instantly you feel the capacity of love that drives the vision of all of the hearts within this group to assist in the awakening of our beautiful Mother Earth. feeling a warm radiance in your heart as you amplify your deepest intention to live in oneness and total abundance with all other beings. Call forth and allow your heart's innate drive to align with divine will, to the power of universal law, and releasing yourself into the infinite potential that arises for your life when you are fully surrendered to your heart and the heart of humanity. When we devote ourselves and our intentions to serve the highest good, the universe lovingly and effortlessly allows us to align with abundance. Pausing here to feel how it would feel to be living in your highest expression, to be sharing all of your deepest soul passions with those who are ready to receive your support, all while being fully aligned consciously and unconsciously to receive abundance to support your dream life. And as you bring your awareness to the blue spinning center of the throat chakra, begin to internally experience the impact that your unique soul expression would have on the world if there was no resistance or block in your ability to dedicate yourself with full confidence to your business and gifts. What would it feel like to speak to potential clients with absolutely no doubt that the universe had already aligned you with every tool, lesson, and experience to be and spread constant light to the world? What would it feel like to be able to wake up each morning and feel entirely supported in your infinite expression of your divine gifts and offerings? What would it feel like to embody and express total confidence on any call, knowing that your subconscious had already been pre-programmed to attract the highest timeline and abundance for all involved? Allowing that excitement to move and sway into the third eye, feeling the activation point begin to open with indigo pulsating light. Whatever visualization you have created so far, move it into the space and begin to expand it from your third eye out into your reality, as if this new lens of abundance flooding your entire life as you watch it be birthed into reality. Begin to tap deeply into your vision. What would your life truly look like if you were fully embodied in trust, with no subconscious blocks to selling the services that you were born to share? Feeling into the connection with your guidance team and asking them to provide you the internal visualization of what your highest timeline might look like through the alignment of your heart with your business, in service to the greatest good for humanity. Moving finally into the violet light of the crown chakra as you open fully to source and experience the inner knowing of your divine potential. Feeling your guides, angels, ancestors, cosmic family members around you in constant support of your most abundant creation, all working to assist you in being your most vibrant expression in full service to the highest good. Allow that connection to be fully embraced and felt in all cells of your being, realizing in this moment your infinite potential to create and be supported to align with the abundant life you have always desired. Allow the vision for your highest timeline in this lifetime that has maybe always felt a bit out of reach to be fully embraced as your reality in this now moment within the body, mind, emotions, and soul. Breathe into this version of yourself in your life and let it come totally into beingness. And just taking this last moment to vibrate with this frequency of your highest timeline that allows you to open into the most expansive and aligned space for your business and your life. Intend now for this activation of infinite abundant potential to permeate all levels and layers of your being, feeling all of your chakras vibrating in alignment with this recognition. Knowing that we are always creating our reality, that the mind doesn't know the difference between our imagination and what is actually happening. The more that we can amplify this visualization and feeling in the body, the more real it becomes. And coming back now to your breath, closing up your chakras in this renewed balance. And taking a moment to sit with this experience as it settles. And when you're ready, coming fully back into your body in this present moment, grounding yourself and opening your eyes when you're ready to rejoin the group. So as you guys come back into this moment, and drop a comment if anything shifted for you guys in the meditation, what you felt in your body. I'd love to hear what your experiences are. Yes, the root part always changes my energy too. Amazing what grounding does. Anybody have specific chakras they felt the most? Ooh, rebuilt your aura into pure gold. That's amazing.
Awesome. Yeah.
Beautiful, Michelle. Yeah, our sacral is so tied to this stuff too. All of our creativity and our business, like sacral chakra is where it's at.
Yeah. So just a great example. Thank you, Kaley, so much for doing that. It's just really a great example of we're going to keep bringing us back into the spiritual. You know, we might talk a lot about business stuff. We might talk a lot about strategies and you know, we might do a lot of training stuff, but we're going to keep regrounding and coming back to the spiritual. This is the Spiritual Business Alchemy course, and we're going to make sure that it's that way. Now, in a moment, I'm going to talk about a quote, one of my favorite quotes. And after that, Bekah's just going to run through, again, what the course covers. She's got an incredible offer for you guys, the ones that are on the call. But the other night, I was watching a movie on Netflix called When the Road Ends. And it's about this guy from Sri Lanka named Dylan, who decided that he was going to ride his motorcycle from the northern tip of Alaska, the furthest north he could get, to the southernmost part of Argentina. He wanted to go cross country, going north to south. And he went on this amazing trip, met a lot of great people. And then he got down into the area, Central America, and he was told that he couldn't do what he thought he was going to do. He was told that there's this strip of land between Panama and Colombia called the Darien Gap. And this strip is completely impassable. Like, it's almost impossible even to walk through. The jungle is so thick there. There's poisonous plants. There's huge spiders, you know, the size of dinner plates. There's like so many different dangers that hardly anybody ventures into the Darien Gap. And there's no road that goes through it. So his dream of going from the northern point of Alaska to the southern point of Argentina was at a crossroads. He didn't know really what to do. And then he began thinking about it. And he said he made the commitment that he was going to ride his motorcycle, that he was going to use his motorcycle to get him from that northern point to the southern point. And rather than just load his motorcycle up on a boat and take a boat ride around the Darien Gap, he built a raft that was powered by his boat. And he launched out into the Pacific Ocean with no idea if he was going to make this trip or not. But he had the commitment that he was going to do it. He had the will that he was going to do it. He didn't realize that he was using most of the universal laws that we're going to be talking about in the course, but he had these in play all the time. He was being threatened by a very large shark at one point, and a pod of dolphins showed up and swam between him and the shark until the shark went away. And there's so many, I don't want to ruin for you because I definitely watched the film. It's a great example. But you guys are on this call now because you know what you're committed to. You know what your highest purpose is. You know why you became a light worker, why you became a healer, why you became a coach. And there's something there that you weren't aware of. Part of this, things that you don't know that you don't even know. There's a Darien Gap there that's keeping you for some reason from being able to engage with more people, to being able to reach a wider audience. And you haven't been able to figure out what that is yet. And this course, I'm telling you, is that raft. We're going to go ahead and launch out on the Pacific. Go ahead and switch over to the next slide, Bekah. This is a quote I want to leave you with. And then, like I said, Bekah's going to close us off with an amazing offer for you guys. This quote is by a gentleman by the name of W.H. Murray. It's been misattributed to Goethe, and that's because part of it comes from Goethe, the final two lines. But the quote, until one is committed, there is hesitancy, the chance to draw back, always ineffectiveness. Anybody out there experiencing a little bit of that in your businesses, right? Some hesitance, thinking about maybe I really don't want to launch this program. Maybe I shouldn't do this right now. He says, concerning all acts of initiative and creation. So is he leaving any out? No, this is all acts of initiative and creation. There is one elementary truth. Now, an elementary truth is just like a universal law. It's something that applies regardless if you know it or believe it. And he says that the ignorance of this elementary truth kills countless ideas and splendid plans. And what this elementary truth is that the moment one definitely commits oneself, just like Dylan did when he built a raft around his motorcycle, then providence moves too. Now, you can call providence whatever you want. You can call it God, you can call it the universe, you can call it destiny, you can call it divine, whatever. Providence moves too. The moment one definitely commits oneself, a higher power moves. A whole stream of events issues from the decision. Now, think about that word decision. The root word of that is decide. And there's a lot of other words that end in side, like suicide, insecticide, herbicide, fratricide. All of these words that end in side, you kind of have an idea of what that suffix means, side, right? It means to kill. So when you make a decision, what you're really doing is you're killing off all other options. When you're at a restaurant and you order the chicken, the chance that they bring you something different is much lower. You've killed off the option of having anything else. When you make the decision, like Dylan did, he made the decision to put his motorcycle on that raft and float away into the Pacific Ocean. He killed off all other options. And once it says a whole stream of events issues from the decision rising in one's favor, all manner of unforeseen incidents, we're talking about synchronicity here, meetings and material assistance, which no one could have dreamt would have come their way. Whatever you can do or dream you can, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Now, when I was in real estate and I was learning these laws, I had commitments to sell a certain number of properties this 1 month. And I made a decision with my coach. I wrote out 10 checks for $1,000, sent them to him. And I made 17 commitments that I was going to do before I even got to the office that morning. I was going to be up at 5 a.m. I was going to be out the door by 10 after. I was going to run at least 3 miles. I was going to call him halfway through my run so he could hear in my voice that I was actually running. I made all of these commitments. If I missed one of those commitments, he would have cashed a check. And I had 17 commitments every single day for an entire month. That's another part of that we're going to be working on in the Spiritual Business Alchemy course, is that sense of accountability and that partnership with another person in order to help you move through this Darien gap that's in your way. Whatever you can do or dream you can, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. So we're going to ask you to be bold here in a moment. And I'm going to turn it over to Bekah. Thank you so much, Bekah, for having me a part of this program and for giving me this opportunity to speak tonight.
Thank you, Michael. And thank you, everyone, again, all of you who decided to take your time and energy that you could be doing anything with during this moment of your lifetime and choosing it to be with us in this space. And I trust that you received exactly what you needed during this time. And to even extend it further, if you're really, really feeling this alignment of, okay, yeah, I realize there is some unconscious blocks and some things that I really do want to learn more about to better myself as an entrepreneur, as a coach in this lifetime to support others, then I would love to invite you into this beautiful container we've created called the Spiritual Business Alchemy. And it's something that we have cultivated and created based on all of our individual experiences and what we've seen out in the market and what could be added in addition to that. Because there's so many other programs, as you guys all know. But we really want to be able to show you a way where you can integrate some really beautiful strategies and add in the spiritual alignment with it in your business and your sales to manifest your clients that you desire and really make a bigger impact, because we're all in this together. Our combined mission within Spiritual Business Alchemy is to enlighten the planet, to spread light on the planet Well, how do we do that? Our biggest way of doing that is to support you as a healer and a coach, so then you can spread that light to your clients, and then they can spread that light to their family, their friends, and maybe even their clients, because they realize, wow, I have power too and gifts. And it just keeps going and going. So it's much bigger than just a program. But within this program, in this container, it's a 4-month container, and it literally has all of the aspects that I wished for that I had combined in 4 months over the course of years and years and years of learning. So it's for light workers and coaches, as you guys already know. And so it's going to include one-on-one coaching. So you have access to all of us, the 4 of us that we have introduced ourselves on the call. You'll have one-on-one time with us. You'll have the strategy session, the support sessions. We'll have weekly calls as well for 2 hours, a very beautiful course outline that's going to include all the things we've already been talking about and a lot more. So it's once again combining sales, NLP, different exercises. We're doing chakra balancing, Kundalini awakening, human design work for you, so you can really create a strategy for your business and sales plan related to you and your design and your energy. There's just so much packed into this, as well as one of my most favorite things is having Lilla and her team of social management, our social media management and virtual assistant support, 32 hours as part of this package to support you on your business. So we want to give you the tools and the strategies so that
Oh no, did we lose Bekah?
offering the virtual assistant as well as part of the package. So it's literally covering everything. Guided meditations by Kaley that are customized for this container, community, Facebook group, all of it. And for this next week, and since you guys have participated in the webinar, we're offering you a really special discount of over $2,000 off of the program, which starts in December 2nd. And so that's $2,222 off. So instead of what everyone else will be signing up for after this week, you're going to be saving, over $2,000 just for saying yes to this container and getting on early. So that is an offer that we're only able to provide for 1 week. So November 5th is the last day to accept this offer. And then after that, the prices are going up. So really feel into it. If you're feeling like, this is exactly what I'm needing. I understand when my guides brought me to this container. Like, I can't tell me how many times I've invested this much in other programs and it did not give me all of these things. And I've spent $20,000 just in 2019 alone on coaching and courses. And this one's packed in a lot of ways to support you, ensure that you're going to get the transformation you need to step into your highest self. So if you look at your email after, there's already an email waiting in your inbox to give you the link to this discount. So if you're ready to say, yes, I am so ready to step into that new version of myself and want to be a part of this container, we would still invite you and love you to be a part of our soul family and tribe and one of our students and teachers, because we're all here to learn from each other. Then there's a link in that email that you should have received already. And all you have to do is put down the first payment deposit of the $1,111, angel numbers, and you'll be ready to go. After that, you don't have to worry about your next payment until December, until the course starts. So it's not like we are asking for a lot from you up front, just one commitment payment, and you've already committed yourself. And I can assure you, for all the times I've invested in myself and I've seen my clients say yes to taking that step, making that decision and commitment, like Michael was talking about, things open up. Like crazy things have happened to me and my clients. Like one of my clients said yes, and literally like the next day she got 3 clients message her, like reach out to her, like, hey, I'm ready for coaching. So it's beautiful to see as we commit, the universe gives us tenfold back. So this offer once again is for 1 more week, and it was really beautiful just to kind of share synchronicities. Michael and I were talking about what we want to offer for this webinar as a discount. And we said, okay, we're going to offer them $5,555 for this program. And we already knew the original price is $7,777. So they're like, oh, that would be another angel number. So the discount you're getting is $2,222. And we're like, what does that mean? We look it up. It says you need balance and harmony in your life to open up your spiritual path. You need to embrace going with the flow. You need to have confidence in your own abilities and intuition. You need to make important decisions today that'll influence your future. And you need to remember that you are the author of your current situation. We did not choose this number with that meaning. It was just like, it all synchronously happens, as you guys know, with how the universe talks to us and our angels. So that's the offer we're providing all of you guys. And if you still want more support and understanding if you're a good fit for this program, or if we feel like you are qualified to be a part of this program for the Spiritual Business Alchemy, there's also a link in that email to book a call with us. And we'd love to just hold space, let you share exactly where you're at, what your vision is for your business. We can even put a strategy together so you feel more confident in seeing if SBA is a good fit for you. And that is everything. Thank you all so much. They'll be recording if you want to re-listen to any of this and the meditation. I always like to close with like opening the container with something and closing. I realized I was nervous today and I forgot to open with grounding meditation, but I'd love to just close out this container as we're all here for those of you that have still stayed on. And you don't even have to do it with the volume on, but I do think it's a really powerful thing to do together. It's just is one collective Om. So if you want to go off of mute, I invite you to do that. And we'll just do one Om and then jump off. Ciao. Have a wonderful, lovely night or morning, wherever you are in the world. And thank you again for joining us. So if you guys are ready, I invite you to, first one is just, we're going to take an inhale and exhale. And then after we'll begin the Om together, just one Om. And so if you feel like closing your eyes, keeping them open, doesn't matter. I like to close my eyes. Normal breath, just inhale, exhale, breathing deeply in through your nose and out. And on this inhale, we're going to begin with the Om. Take a deep breath in. Namaste. Shanti, shanti, shanti.
Thank you all for being here.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
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 All right.
All right. Is that fun? Yeah, it's done.
Yep. I was going to say, do we want to stay on and debrief? Kaley dropped off.
Okay. I'm happy.
Recording?
Or do we want to
record it?
Oh yeah, stop recording.
Thank you.